It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, we're going to discuss where I was last week, why I wasn't here. Did anybody even notice that I was gone? So, I feel like in this internet world that, you can go weeks, months, maybe even years, and people won't even know that you were gone. But, we'll see how things go. Hopefully, not everybody forgot where I was, and we'll go from there. Ray is saying he watched a rerun. There's got to be better stuff to watch on the internet. Lynn says he missed me. At least there was one of you. I did take my way out to the middle of the United States, and I had a really good time last week. And I didn't take a lot of pictures, but I took some pictures, so I thought I would share those with you tonight. I also might have a little something on the bench tonight. It's kind of box shaped. I don't know if anybody can guess what it is from the packaging or not. I also have this on the bench that I opened. I got another one of these from Iron Planet Hobbies. Yes, Ryan over at Iron Planet Hobbies does sell microtrain stuff as well, so I'm very excited to have gotten myself another one of these cars. You never know, maybe they'll be as popular as the 2017 ones a few days later. Ray is asking, what is with the blue tape? That's not original equipment. I know my building, for whatever reason, they write the apartment numbers really big on the sides of the boxes so that when they're in the mailroom, people can see what the box, whose apartment the box is from really far away. So, I cover it up. I ripped off as much of the label as I could, but I couldn't get it all off, so I covered that up. But I was able, luckily they didn't, they didn't write over the important things. John says his concierge does the same thing. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It makes things easier, but unboxings, we can't just jump right into an unboxing, right? We've got to leave it till the end. Maybe we'll get to it. Maybe we won't get to it. Who knows? Who knows what could be in this box, but we are going to start with River Rail 2024. River Rail is an event that happens every other year in LaCross, Wisconsin. If you don't know where LaCross, Wisconsin is, I didn't either. I had no idea where it was before I went there, but I found out it's a big metropolis in Wisconsin with 55,000 people. It's kind of grouped in with another city called Onalaska, and it's about 129,000 people total. There's a bunch of lakes and river. No, I guess there's rivers. There's not lakes. I guess rivers. The Mississippi River is right there, and we had a good time. I had a really good time. If you saw the trailer to this live stream, it was me going to Minneapolis. And I did do stuff in Minneapolis before I went to LaCrosse. I got to hang out with the Twin Cities Division group of model railroaders, and we had a good time. I saw an absolutely stunning N-scale layout built for operations. I was very excited because I've never actually operated on an N-scale layout. So to see one designed for it, I wasn't there long enough to do a full up session, but I did run a train around the layout. It was just really cool to see something designed just for ops. Yep, that would be Ken's, Paul. Of course, Paul, after I visit Ken's, Paul says, hey, say hello to Ken for me. Too late. I wasn't there. I do still need to send out my thank yous. I like when I go and I visit people to send out thank yous. Monday, I pretty much slept all day. But it was still a great time getting there, and I'm awake now, so. You ran trains on a river. We didn't run trains on the river, particularly more like next to the river. What I was shocked about, though, is I've always felt very fortunate because of the layouts that are in my area. Within an hour away is the closest layout, and then, an hour and a half away are some other layouts. But in Minneapolis, there's like multiple layouts 15 minutes from each other. And in LaCrosse, there's like multiple layouts within 15 minutes of where they had the hotel. So there wasn't a van, but people did drive, and it's it was just really incredible how many layouts were that close and kind of around each other. So I thought I'd show a couple photos, talk a little bit about stuff. Again, I didn't take a lot of photos while I was there. When I go somewhere to operate, I'm kind of in the ops mindset. So instead of looking around to take pictures, I'm looking around the layout more to learn like what the owner is thinking and how the operations is set up. So I kind of forget sometimes to take pictures because I'm really just more into the layouts and what's going on. First layout we went to, so I flew in Wednesday night to Minneapolis, and then on Thursday morning, after seeing a bunch of the Minneapolis-St. Paul area layouts hosted by Thomas Splitrock, I should say that. Thomas was an amazing host, drove me around. I did get to operate on the Splitrock, which was really cool. But after I left Thomas, we went to Nancy and Scott Stearns, the CB&Q from Chicago to Aurora. This layout was Scott's kind of like dream layout. He grew up near this layout, now has the means to build a layout, and decided to go all in. And I'm gonna, the photos don't show just how big this is. You can kind of get a sense. It says crew size 20 to 25 people. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but if you can see this, it says crew size 20 to 25 people, 30 foot by 50 foot double deck plus lower staging. So it's it is quite the experience. Tammy, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Tammy, you do have a box on your way. You should have gotten a notification. So that should be on your way. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad to hear you got your MRI and things are going well for you. Steve, you would definitely be interested in this layout then. You would probably actually know all of the various areas. Which leads me to this question. What is the most difficult thing about learning a new layout? For me, the hardest thing about learning a layout is knowing where the places are and understanding, like, if you have a train going east, to understand, like, what that means on a layout. There's something called, as you can call it, directionality, but like my layout, right? It's all on one level. So when you're standing facing the layout, you're actually facing east. So to the left is north and to the right is south, always. No matter where you are on the layout, you're facing east, north is to the left, south is to the right. So in most people's layouts, when you're facing the layout, east is to the left, west is to the right, which pretty much makes sense, and it kind of helps you kind of understand where things are going. But when you go to these like double-deck, multi-level layouts with helixes and stuff, I just can get turned around, and sometimes I don't know whether I'm going east or west or up or down. So for me, the hardest thing on a new layout is you get a local switching job, and it says, go to XYZ location, go to XYZ industry, and drop off, a car. You just kind of start out on the railroad and hope you run into the town is kind of what happens. I mean, some layouts are labeled better than others. The layouts that are labeled really, really well are easier to follow along with. Sometimes, sometimes it is what it is. So here is kind of the main view when Oh no, this isn't when you first, oh yeah, this is. So this is, I have not walked into the layout room yet. I'm actually standing in the doorway, looking across the layout. I I apologize. I don't remember all the yards. I don't remember which yard this is, but this was like the big yard on the layout. There's another yard around the corner called Cicero, but this is kind of the main aisle, I guess, and everything kind of feeds off of this aisle. But we are looking at the top deck is what I am peeking over the top deck in this one. And I just realized my chat wasn't scrolling. Yes, that is a huge amount of operators. It sure is. Sure is. Yes, Tammy, you won. You are a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, it's true. Dave's out in Chicago as well. You'd probably recognize a lot of the towns out there as well. Let's see. We're going. So a map of the area would be good. Yes, I'm just not that geographically smart, I think is part of the problem too. So I think I just, there you go, Eola Yard. I thought it would, so if you, for those of you who don't know, and I didn't know until not just now, but this past weekend, Randy Doman is actually one of the people out in the area. I got to meet Randy. We got to hang out for a little bit. Every layout I went to over the weekend had some hand-laid switches. All of those hand-laid switches were made by Randy Doman. One thing that it's not unique to the area, but I think the area takes it kind of to another level. And that is that everybody helps each other. So Randy does a lot of hand-laying switches for people. There are other people that do electronic stuff. There are other people that do scenery stuff. And they kind of go around and help each other get their layouts together. So yes, if we go back, let's just look at this real quick. So Eola Yard is on the bottom on the left. Savannah is on the very right by the garage door, actually behind that scenery block right there. You can see there's some areas that are more scenic than the others. They started building this layout in 2017. They've been working on it for a long time. There is still some work to do on the layout, but it was still just a really good time. The Sterns, too, are very interesting, at least to me, in that Nancy and Scott are really partners in building the layout. Nancy laid almost all of the track that's in here. So while this is Scott's dream layout, Nancy is hugely involved. So this is looking at it the other way. So Eola Yard is now on the right side on the bottom there. You can see the door at the far end. Just to the left, I want to point to it as if you could see. Just to the left of that bridge, if you duck under there, you go into the dispatcher's booth. Is this their home or an outbuilding? It is an outbuilding, actually. This used to be, I think, the carriage house, or at least their garage, if I'm not mistaken. They were going to put the layout in a barn that is on their property, but the barn's about 50 years old and it was kind of falling down, and they kind of decided that this garage was kind of the best location. And they went with it. So I know Aurora's behind me. I do know that. Which way are we looking now? Well, Eola's on the right. Savannah is in the upper far left. Aurora is behind me. So I don't know. I'm facing the aisle. Eola out to Savannah on the Mississippi River. There you go. Don't give me any answers and see. Yeah. I'm going to need help. I'm going to need a lot of help on a bunch of these layouts. This is Cicero Yard. You can see the engine house here on the left. So this is kind of, this is the other side of the wall in Eola. So like Eola wall is here. If you kind of, it's not really just it's hard to explain. He doesn't have a track plan, so it's hard to kind of explain where everything is. Let's see, what did Dennis say? Is there a common way of noting yard tracks? Like yard track 1 is always closest to the aisle, or do you guys actually put little signs up for them somehow? So prototypically, yard tracks did not have numbers. The guys working the yard just knew which track was what. My understanding is what is prototypical is that yard tracks are always labeled from the main line out. So if you have a main line running down the center, then you have tracks, 1 through whatever going one way and 1 through whatever going the other way. If the main line is, at the front edge of the layout, then it goes from front to back. If the main line's in the back of the layout, it goes from front to back. So everywhere that is in every place on my layout, the tracks are numbered from the main line out. I actually asked this question. I said, does it have anything to do with the sport? And nobody knew the answer. At least I should say the people that I asked didn't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that. Yes, it is a huge layout. Yeah, so he did do the Aurora subdivision. Let's see, if we go back to here, so where the gentleman is in the way back over here, the way back, that is Aurora, from there over to the left. So, yeah. And yes, a lot of people do number the yard tracks. It does help. What do they call it? Operators. So it is a good thing to do. What happens if the main line loops the yard? I don't know. It's a good question. Sunnyside yard has a loop. I don't actually know the answer. Mr. Beethoven, thank you so much for contributing week after week. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, Adam says his yard at work, it's numbered. They actually have numbers. Ray says the name originated from the game with sticks that resembled a bishop's something, or LaCross in French, which was played by Native Americans there. LaCross is a French word for crossing the river, I guess. Oh, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. A bunch of people saying the same thing with that word. Oh, I see. Everyone's looking on Wikipedia now. We have a number 10 on each one, so I'll grab some pictures. There you go. I was told they weren't prototypical. I've actually never really seen numbers on yard tracks out in the wild. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Adam runs on, I believe you'd call it a light rail system, so maybe light rail does it differently than class 1 yards. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't label things. Labeling stuff makes sense to me. So here's the Cicero yard again, and this is kind of, again, hard to explain, but the layout like wraps around itself in kind of a circle. So this is kind of the inside most point of the layout. I did some switching back in this area, so I spent a little bit of time back there. But that was the only photos. Again, like I asked the person that invited me. So I got invited through what they call a local coordinator. Ray, what would you do on the streams if I didn't provide all of the information? Or if I didn't not know anything? Then what fun would it be? So I was invited by a local coordinator who got invited by somebody at River Rail. And at the first layout, I was with him and I said, and he is much more experienced operator than I am. He's been operating probably 20, 30 years, minimum. I've only been operating about 2 years. So I said, when you go to a layout for the first time, you know, what do you do? Like, how do you figure it out? And he basically said, like, try and understand the story, try and understand what the layout owner is trying to create. So I didn't take a lot of photos, but let's go back. So that was Thursday. Friday, made the rest of the trip to LaCross, went to the hotel, checked into the hotel, and went to Michigan Central, which is by Randy Page. Randy is one of those guys that has a lot of hobbies, which I kind of really really appreciate that, because I've got too many things going on as well. So it is what it is. Dennis, if there was an airport within 3 hours of you, I would probably come visit, but you don't even live near an airport. And it's too far to walk. It's too far to walk. Okay, Michigan Central, Randy Page. Some of the photos I took because there were interesting things on the layout that I wanted to kind of capture, to kind of remember the layout, to kind of trigger things for me on the layout. 16 foot by 35 foot double deck. It was in his attic over a garage. 11 to 13 operators. He modeled the Michigan Central, which was a part of the New York Central system. His story was that he wanted to figure out something to model that it would involve both aviation and World War II stuff. And he basically was trying to figure out where during World War II, did they manufacture stuff? And it took a long time to figure out. Eventually he realized Detroit, Michigan. So this was a part of the New York Central system. On the right side was the main yard. Left side obviously is the roundhouse that was there. Didn't really do much with the roundhouse during the op session. Every layout, I pretty much ended up running road trains that had some local switching. I like running road trains on layouts that I don't know, because I get to learn where things are. I get to see the whole layout, take in the whole layout, and also do some switching. That said, probably didn't do as much switching as I might like, but I got to see a lot of the layouts, and that's really what it was about. So this picture I took because I thought it was kind of interesting how the yard was mostly just cinders with small patches of grass. You'll see in these pictures, a lot of them that I took kind of were some insights into like ground covering, because I think that's kind of you said yeah, see, I'm consistent at least, right? But, you know, I look at these and I'm like, you know, it's pretty simple, right? It's not complicated. The scenery doesn't really take away from anything. And I like the simplicity of it. And I think, you know, I don't, cinders aren't the direction I'm going to go. I have some photos later of something that I think's a little closer to what I'm going to do. But, you know, I just like, I just like the simplicity of it, you know. And this is very much like my layout. Background flats with the yard in front of it. And that is, you know, that side of the layout and this side of the layout is basically background flats with the in front of it. So yard ops versus mainline, I like switching. I really like doing turns. So it's a local train, it leaves the yard, goes out to a certain area, does a bunch of switching, and then has to turn around and go back to that same yard. Having to flip a train take the caboose from what was the one end and move it to the front and move the caboose and back and stuff. It's kind of neat having to do that turn and do all the switching and all of that kind of stuff as well. I don't like just main line running. Like I'm not as interested in through trains. I think through trains are a great way to see the layout, but I want to do some switching. I want to go to a town. I want to read the names of the industries in the town, you know, kind of figure out stuff in that area and then move on to the next thing. Let's see, so where are we at? Here's another picture. This is the right side of the yard. Again, you can kind of see the simplicity in the ground covering. 1944, so there was a bunch of steam locomotives and stuff like that. And again, not that many pictures. I got in, I got out, had a really great time. Again, a lot of it too is the people there were just really, really great people. And that really made it fun as well. I mean, I'm not the best operator, you know, I make mistakes, but like, you know, everyone was very supportive and very helpful, and, you know, I didn't get made fun of too much. Saturday morning, I went to a layout called Montana Northland by Neil Rogensack, and this is another large layout, 30-foot by 60-foot mushroom style triple deck. If you don't know what a mushroom style layout is, I'm going to do a terrible job of trying to explain it to you right now. But essentially, imagine that you have like one deck here, let's say, and one deck here, right? And you have an aisle on either side. So when you're in this aisle, let's say you're looking at the lower deck and there's a backdrop here, right? So you see the lower deck. On the upper deck, though, the backdrop is going to be close to you. So when you're here, you can see the lower deck, but not the upper deck. But then when you're in this aisle here, you can't see the lower deck, but you can see the upper deck. So you get the double deck layout, but you have more aisles, and you it adds to the space, distance, time thing that is what I really enjoy, because you might be on the lower deck, but you're in a different aisle, switching over here, while somebody's on the upper deck switching over here in a different aisle. So it just kind of, I like it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, so mid-70s, Montana Northland is a freelance layout. So a lot of his stuff was... Frank, you moved? Did you really move and take and leave your layout? Wow, I didn't see that coming. Yeah, if I had the space, I would absolutely build a mushroom layout. Operations required 15 operators. Car cards and waybills. He used track warrants. So we're going to get into track warrants in a second, because I got a lot of pictures of that. He's been building this layout for about 11 years. It is incredible how much work he has gotten done in that time. This is one of the aisles here. You can make out on the right side on the top, you can see that black fascia there on the top right. That is actually the back of the upper part of the mushroom. So if you walk all the way around to the other side and get up on the inside, yeah, valence. Oh, he knows the right answer to fascia, and valence color is black. Yeah, he did use black everywhere. Really long runs between towns, which was really nice. The front of your locomotive was not in a different town while you were switching out the back of the train. But Montana Northland freelance railroad, so he painted all of the locomotives, and anything that said Montana Northland on it was all custom work that he did. I took a couple more photos at this layout because there were some things that I really wanted to capture. One of them was he does track warrants. So all throughout the layout, he has a phone with a pencil, and he's got a clipboard on a hinge. That clipboard on a hinge flips up. It sits up on a little hinge like that. So what you do is you call the dispatcher on the phone, and the dispatcher reads out the track warrant to you. You write out the track warrant, you read it back to the dispatcher, they okay the track warrant. And basically what the track warrant is doing is it is giving you permission to go from where you are to somewhere else. So I think I have, let's see, coming up I have some more pictures of the track warrants. He has got a helix. I didn't even know there was a helix in here. He had a big helix in the center. This is one section that for some reason was blocked off, but he's kind of working on it back there. I took a picture of this because I thought it was really cool. If you look at the bottom of it there, you can see he's listed all of the people that have helped out on the layout. So Neil Rogensack was the first name on the list. Dan Lips does a lot of the electrics for a lot of people. D. Berman, Ron Kofer, Randy Page, who was the Michigan Central layout that I just talked about. Al Lesky, we'll get to his layout next. But just all the people that kind of helped work on the layout. So this is freelance, so he made this up. He pulled this together. Here's his, his map. All the, the mile markers and information on the map, and then he's got some general instructions here as well. Once assigned to the train, fill out a call slip and deliver it to a dispatcher. Please stay close to the phone until your warrant is issued. You may have a warrant to get to a certain place. You get to that place, you call the dispatcher and say, I am where you told me I can go to. He says, okay, hang out there. I will call you back when I can give you your next track warrant. So these are the track warrants. These are some of the first ones that I had. So just looking at the bottom, let's look at the bottom right one. So the bottom right one, track warrant number 13, 2522 West. That was my lead locomotive. I was traveling west, and I was at McKinley. Track warrant number 5 is void. So the track warrant just on the left, which took me from Missoula to McKinley, is now void. Number 2, I am able to proceed from McKinley to York. And number 6, when I get to York, hold the main line at the last named point. So I read this back to the dispatcher. He said, okay. 4:09 a.m., dispatcher SWG. I hang up. I now am able to take the train from McKinley to York, and I have the right to run on that track. So hopefully nobody else is on that place. So when I get to the next location, which is the one in the top right, so track warrant 14, 2522 West at York. Track warrant number 13 is now void. Proceed from York to Braden. And this time I check number 7. Number 7 is clear the main track at the last name point, which means when I get to Braden, I have to take the siding. So when I called the dispatcher at Braden, he said, great, hold on, stay on the siding. I will get back to you as soon as I can to give you your next track warrant. That's what allowed me to travel around that layout. It was the first time I ever used track warrants. That's not true. I've used track warrants, but not in that way. The way the layouts I've operated on, usually, I keep saying usually, normally, I don't know. They would have an operator, and the operator would call the dispatcher, and the dispatcher would transfer the track warrant to the operator, and then the operator would hand you your paperwork, and that is what would give you permission. So it was different that myself as the engineer slash conductor was getting the track warrants directly from the dispatcher. This layout had 10, 12, 14-ish locations around the layout where you might stop to get a track warrant. So it made sense not to have that many operators and to have the engineer conductor doing the work. But what that meant was I sharing the display? When I was showing these, was I sharing the display? Or was I like talking and not showing? Anyway, now I'm confused. Yeah, so warrants help dispatchers with setting up meets and keeping trains moving by using the after arrival box. Exactly. Yeah, so there is a checkbox number 3, not in effect until after the arrival of. So you can create a track warrant that says once X train passes you, then you have the right to the trackage, which means you need to pay attention and pay attention when that train comes to make sure it is the train that you are looking for. So Al Lesky, as I mentioned, Al did some work over at Neil, so you saw Al's name on the paperwork, but Al did the Milwaukee Road. So this is now Saturday afternoon. I went to Mr. Lesky's layout, and again, just another really, really fantastic, really fun layout. Another 1970s layout, 35 foot by 35 foot double deck, 12 to 14 crew. Again, did road trains, mostly did through trains on this layout. I had very, very little switching. The way he does his switching is that in general, you drop your cars on the siding and you as the road train go on. And then there is what he called, what did he call it? I forget what he called it, but there is a guy that like works that area that brings the switcher over and switches that area, and he like works like 2 areas kind of near each other. So the road trains come and drop, go on, and then the switcher does a patrol. Thank you. Woo! I knew it started with a P, I just couldn't remember what it was. Yes, a patrol. Oh, another thing to mention, every single layout in this area was Digitrax. Every single layout that I was on was Digitrax, which is very interesting because in this area, a lot of the layouts are NCE. So it was kind of neat to really see that people tend to use what, you know, is around them. So here's the main yard here on the bottom right. Again, this is a layout that I took a lot of pictures specifically for the scenery, because if I had to pick a style of scenery, I guess I would say, like, maybe the colors would be a little different, but if I, yep, yep, that's Harry. If I was, this is the style of scenery that I really like. Again, you know, not a lot of stuff in the foreground, most of the stuff in the background, very simple ground cover. But what I really like, and you can start seeing it up top here, is there wasn't any static grass. It was all just like ground foam and like ground up color. And essentially just kind of like spread out color and ground foam. And I like this. And for N scale, I think it, that's funny. I like that. Thanks, Derek. For N scale, I don't think static grass works really well. I think, and this was an HO scale layout, but I think this is how I want to do my layout with this type of layout. Oh, there you go. This Milwaukee Road layout is the opposite side of the Mississippi River than David Hamilton's C, B, and Q line. So here, here's another picture where I like how the fall colors are very, very delicately sprinkled in. And I've got some fall colors over here on this side of the layout that I want to draw down into this little section in front of the window. And I like what's going on here with just a little bit of sprinkles of color in and amongst all of the ground foam and other stuff. Here, what I wanted to show in this photo is I have a corner back here where I have a similar thing, where I have a track coming in from one side, a track coming in from the other side, kind of making, a 90-degree in the corner. And some people have made the comment, like, trains wouldn't do that. They wouldn't come into each other at the corner. And it's kind of like, well, I'm going to have scenery. I'm going to have, just like he has there, he's got buildings that the cars kind of poke themselves into. And you don't really see that the two tracks are coming together, but it still adds some operational interest in the corner of the layout. Another example of the sprinkled color throughout. You can see the main line is the lighter ballast, and this siding here has the darker ballast, which is pretty much something he used all throughout the layout, was the different color ballast on the two sections. This is something I'm looking to do too, but a little differently. A lot of people had these Ricks overpasses as view blocks, and I just took a picture of this one just because I thought it was kind of interesting. This was his staging. A point-to-point layout. The staging was on top of each other. I forget whether east was above west or west was above east, but essentially you ended and exited from the same way. John, did you go on a 4-hour road trip? Yes, just finished at the layout. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm very confused. I'm usually confused. This photo, though, was something that I took because I thought this was a great idea. I'm always worried about trains running off the edge of the layout, and I did put up a little bit of a barrier, but I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to mask it, and I like how they just took some ground foam, added a little color, just lined it up along the edge, and I just think this is the perfect way to kind of create the end of the layout. It's not, it's got kind of an organic nature to it. It's got a little, oh, no way. Oh, good for you. That is a layout that I want to get to, John Parker's. It is really, yeah, that's on my short list, is to get out there. Again, here you can see the lighter color ballast and the darker color ballast. Again, just simple though, like not a lot of stuff. Just simple. And I like this. Like it doesn't need to be overly complicated. So I took a picture of this one, ADM, because one of the layouts I operate on locally has an ADM, but they haven't actually built it yet. It's just sort of a picture on the wall. So I took this picture just because I thought it was kind of neat. Yeah, I know. So if people don't know, at the meet and greet that we did in Greeley, Colorado, on the Monday after the meet and greet, people got to go to John Parker's layout to see it. I unfortunately didn't know that. I had already booked my travel, so I didn't get to go. I'm hoping I'll eventually get to go operate on the layout, which I guess would be the real thing, is to operate on it, not just see it. I do have some connections, so I'm hoping in the next 2 years or so I'll be able to get out there and actually operate on it. Yeah, Paul, it does seem like ADM is kind of that way. And yeah, I mean, Andy, that's kind of, I think the thing is that any sort of ground stuff is gonna be smaller than foam. Like, it's gonna be the smallest foam you can get. So if you saw the thumbnail, you know that I went all the way to LaCross, Wisconsin just to see the circus and happened to operate on some layouts while I was there. Actually, I didn't know the circus was in town. I saw it on Friday night and I was kind of like, what is going on? I didn't really understand it. So Saturday, after operating at Alesky's layout, we were coming back to the hotel and I was a little more oriented at the time, and I realized that where the circus was a 20-minute walk from the hotel. So I'm like, wait, I can walk to the circus? So I looked it up and I said, hey, let's go check out the circus. And let's walk down there. And they happened to have a show at 7:30. I think it was like 5:30 when I bought the ticket. So I humped it on out of there and went over to the show. John, don't give away where I'm going next week. It's going to be a big secret. Yes, Wisconsin is known for circuses, not so much in LaCrosse, but yes, Wisconsin. If you don't know, Baraboo, Wisconsin used to be the summer home of Ringling Brothers. So yeah, so I did. I showed up by myself. I didn't care. There was a circus. I was going to the circus. It was called Circus Italia. It was an Italian person that basically kind of founded it. It was in the style of an old school European circus, meaning that everybody pretty much did everything, right? Like, so during the intermission, the performers would actually go out into the audience and sell the food or the, you know, the little tchotchkes or whatever that that people buy. But I didn't understand this water circus thing. I was very confused by that, so I had to go. Tent set up. They had a what do they call that? Like a merchandise tent out front with the main tent in behind it. Here's kind of a view of the tent. If you don't know, I traveled with the Big Apple Circus and I got to set up a single ring tent with them. So I have a little bit of nostalgia for this style of tent with the merch tent and then the main one ring tent in the background. This is basically a truck show. So they have a bunch of trucks. This truck is branded, obviously. All of the performers stay in like motorhomes or, you know, like little multi-unit kind of motorhome-ish type of things. And they, you know, they travel around. I think they were here in LaCrosse for like 3 days and then they were moving somewhere else for another 3 days. This is what it looked like inside. I was sitting back in the second section here. I just realized that was a pun, and I didn't even mean to say it. No, so no, Circus didn't travel by rail. All the circuses pretty much now are all truck shows. So it went in from a truck. So you can see the stage is kind of raised. This was the first act, which was a trampoline act. The lighting was very rock and roll-ish lighting. A lot of like what we call in the business flash and trash type of lighting. But what was really neat and where it got the name Water Circus was you can kind of make out down here, it had all these like fountains. So the way the stage was built, and let's go back to this picture, you can kind of see it a little bit, is you can see how the center is kind of mesh. And what they did is they had all of these jets that would shoot up and create these jets of water, and they would light the jets of water as they kind of surrounded the performers. This was a straps act, a pas de deux straps act, and you can see here, you know, a little wider shot with all the water shooting up into the air. Lot of, you know, rock and roll lighting, colors. Here's a better view. You can see all the all the water shooting up. So they were using this. They weren't Verilites or Intellibeams, Fred. That is old school stuff that I don't think anybody really. Some people still use VL3000s. There could have been some VL3000s up there, but I don't think there definitely weren't any Intellibeams. Definitely didn't see any there. So here was like the juggler. I don't know how this guy was juggling in the middle of all this water. I'm assuming they've kind of figured out how to kind of keep it off the performers, but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so there's the juggler. This is a guy that did hand balancing, again, with a bunch of water. Did a little hand balancing thing on a, whatever that's called, a disco ball. This was the same guy that was juggling earlier. He did this act with Rollabola, got up there, they raised him up into the sky, and he did some craziness. The circus kind of went on for a little bit, but I didn't really take any pictures during the second act. I basically just hung out and watched it. There were no animals. It was very much the kind of the modern European circus. So no animals, all people. Everybody jumped in and did stuff. All the performers did their own rigging. They would do their own set moves and everything. So kind of that small family style show. So it was really, really pretty interesting. So I got one more layout, and then we'll open up Ray's box. If there's time, if we run out of time and people don't want me to open up the box from Ray, we'll, I guess, have to wait another day. But let's get back to the layouts. The last layout that I went to is the SOTR, the Southern Omaha Terminal Railway. Adam Dagendesh is a younger gentleman. He was the youngest layout owner that I went to visit. And he was modeling the SOTR. This was also the smallest layout that I went to, so it was interesting to me from that point of view. What did it say? 7 operators, a bunch of switching. This layout was basically you just went from location to do switching. That's what he was interested in. That's what he did. He had a wonderful dog that was very friendly and wanted nothing but pets. But here's the layout. It was the smallest layout, but it's still HO scale. He still had a helix, so yes, it was still pretty big, all said and done. But yeah, a nice just double deck layout with a lot of switching. Some areas, again, more done than others. And here again, you know, another picture of an area with very simplistic ground cover. And yeah, I know, small is all relative. I know. Did you write up these layout briefs? No, if you go to riverrail.com, riverrail.org, if you search Riverrail LaCross, Wisconsin, they have a public website where you can get some information on all of the layouts. So that's where I got the write-ups from. I didn't come up with the write-ups. But again, just like the simplicity, I just like the simplicity of this. Yeah, so, you know, that was kind of, you know, very simple, you know, rectangular buildings to show these were, you know, where the car spots were. And yeah, he used something called, I think he called them clicks. I didn't get a chance to take a picture of it, but on your waybill, it would tell you what town you were going to, what industry you were going to. But then you had something called a click, which I don't know what it stands for, but I'm sure it stands for something. But it would tell you what spot the car went to. So the click might say like, you know, XYZ Industry 2-1. and you would have to put that car on, on spot 2-1. And sometimes 2-1 would be multiple cars, sometimes it would be only one car, but essentially that is kind of the way it was. And yeah, N-Scale Train Boy, that scenery acting is the set for the performance. Exactly. I love the kind of theatrical story of that type of thing. So yeah. So 43 people here. Should we open this or should we wait? I guess I'm Ray. Should I open it this week so we can keep this thing moving? Or should I wait and open it up next week and then and go from there? So a couple people are saying open. Paul's I think, mad at me. Andy's saying wait. Ray says, I know the right answer. If I knew the right answer, I would know what to do. Andy says wait. Andy says wait again. Dave says open. Grandpa Rail says open the box. N-Scale Train Boy says open it so it can wind up in my mailbox sooner. Don't tell me. So if you don't know, there is a guy out in the model railroad world that is doing a podcast. The podcast is called Around the Layout. You can find it at all of your friendly podcast places to find podcast things. There we go. Thank you, Randy. Click car location industry code. That's what click means. Thanks for coming back, Randy. So Around the Layout, a little podcast. John 2618 was on the podcast. I have not been on the podcast yet, but I did poke Ray a little bit because Ray is doing a Around the Layout car thing. I guess I probably should have looked it up this a little. Let's see, Around the Layout podcast. Let's see if I can find the website. Oh, did I just mess that up? I think I just kind of messed up. Hold on one second. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay. So if I go screen share here, it should show. There we go. The podcast where model railroads come to tell their story. And he's got something called the Interchange Tour, the ATLP 2022 Interchange Tour. How far can the box car go? He's got it going all over the world. You can come and fill this out if you want the box car. You can make your own box car, so you can order decals and make your own if you want. Ray says your appearance on the podcast is dependent on you doing a good job here. No pressure. So here's it. But this is an HO scale car, and I was like, Ray, what are you doing? What about the rest of us? Other cool things on the layout, just to show it real quick. He does have this cool, the layout sticker guide. This isn't for stickers of your YouTube channel. This is for stickers of your layout. So if you scroll down somewhere on here, you will see the Riverside Transfer layout sticker. Yeah, so the Interchange Tour, if you want to join the Interchange Tour, let me put that in the chat somewhere. Let's see, how do I do this? Where did I do this? Interchange Tour, Around the Layout. Okay. Around the Layout podcast. Let's do ATLP. I spelled interchange wrong, but you get the idea. So I said, Ray, what are you doing? So if you've been following on Facebook, you may have seen some posts from Ray. So this car, a part of the Interchange Tour, Ray is saying is sponsored by me. So I think you can all kind of guess. You can all guess what what the car is, but basically I forced Ray, I think you need a bigger box. I think that's what you need. Ooh, I didn't know it came with a logbook. Boy, that's cool. Check this out. Interchange tour logbook. Wow, spiral bound and everything. Ooh, look, a sticker. So this car has already been to Bethlehem. Oh, DeBob's N-Scale Man Cave. Looks like he took the car to the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania show. Did you go, Ray? Did Ray go to the N-Scale show in Bethlehem? So I wasn't at the N-Scale show in Bethlehem because I was in LaCross. Yeah, this is really cool. This is really nice. Now I understand why the box is what it is. But this is bigger than the car. But here it is. The N-Scale around the car. Oh, so you did go. Oh, I do want to get to one of the N-Scale shows. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but yeah. So we now have an N-Scale car. Ray actually did all of the work on this car himself. He did all the painting, he did all the decaling, and he cursed me the whole way from what I understand because Ray doesn't want to do any more N-Scale type of things. I guess I should zoom in a little bit, huh, right? Let's zoom in and move this up here so we can see it. So there's the N-Scale car. So now there is an HO scale car and an N-Scale car touring around the world. So if you want it, head over to that link that I posted in the chat for the around the layout interchange. Sign yourself up. If you're an HO scaler, definitely sign up for the HO scale. If you're an N-scaler, sign up for the N-scale one. I can't blame them on decorating an N-scale boxcar. Yeah, Joey from Late Night also did one N-scale boxcar and said, never doing that again. John, I would say this is pretty close to your work, and I hold John's work very, very highly. But I think Ray's hiding his talents a little bit. But you'll have to talk to Ray about that. If you want to know scale car, go and sign up. Click on O scale, and maybe it'll happen if he gets enough interest. Don, something tells me there's plenty of cussing, whether it's N scale or HO scale. So show him the pic, Heath. Is there a picture? What picture? What picture am I showing them? The picture of what picture? Am I missing a picture? Now I don't know what picture you want me to show. Are you talking about the picture on Facebook? Oh, the one I sent you in Facebook Messenger. Do you really think that I can find Facebook Messenger at this point? Let me find it. Give me an hour or two, because that could be about how long it takes me to find this. I find Facebook kind of confusing. I have a page and I have my personal account, and some people message me on my personal account and some people message me on the page. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Screen share. There we go. There's Ray doing a little painting of the car. I think he sent this just to prove that he really did make this N-scale car. And I guess you can tell, I mean, he must have done a couple layers, right? Because if you look at this, I mean, that's a real dark black solid on here. But when you look at this, you can kind of see it's, this might have been one of the earlier layers, maybe. Or maybe he just shined it up, polished it. Oh, that's not N scale. Oh, oh. See, that looks bigger than, yeah, that did go right over my head. Oh. Yeah, that's not N scale. So are we saying that that's O scale? But is it 2-rail or 3-rail? Because this may start a fight. Depending if it's 2-rail or 3-rail, we could have a fight here. So again, go over, check it out, sign up for the interchange tour, put your name and information here. It looks like, I mean, what scale is your layout? HON. So I guess he's going to be making one in S scale, O scale, G scale, and Z scale. So it's all good. The difference is the wheels, the prototypical wheels. You gotta, you know, here we go. Now an S or a G, right? Oh, and 1-to-1 scale. That would be impressive. That'd be very impressive. So Ray, you got to tell me where I'm supposed to send the N scale layout next. I will probably drag it around my layout before I ship it out, just to take a little of the take it around the layout a little bit, get a little bit of a video of it. But definitely let me know where to send it. Yeah, Don Iris, I think, just volunteered to do the Z scale car. He was the first one to jump in here. Next week, I'll have a little bit of news as to where I am going to be going next week. I've got some exciting things planned. I don't know. I gotta believe I'm a lot more excited than the two people that I am going to go visit. But for now, I'm here in New York for the next week and a half, and from the city that never sleeps. Farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.